Greetings, greetings. This is Serpent Sermon / Numinous Frequency. We have very esteemed guests on the line tonight. We have Napoleon Fernandez / Damien Dagon. We have Austin Blackstone / Ryan Stirner. We have Wayland. I'm not going to even try to say your last name, brother. I don't want to fucking jack it up. And we have John Goat / Cody John Caprine. What's up, guys? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Been a hell of a day, but at least this is happening now.
Yeah, let's get the energy flowing.
Absolutely. So, I'll go first. So, Napoleon, what is the enemy to you? What is the Abrahamic God to you?
The enemy for us is God, the Demiurge, the God of the Abrahamic religions, that he has us in this matrix kind of thing, controlling us with illusions. And this is like the basic of anti-cosmic Satanism. We realize that we're trapped. We're like flames within a vessel of clay. And this enemy is real. It's not like an imaginary being or a egregor. It's a real entity that is against us. Because we have something that is outside of his creation. Like for him, he created everything, and there is something alien, you know. And this is what we call the black flame of Satan. And that's, we are against him and against creation, and that's why we feel like different to other people. That's like the main tenet.
I agree totally. Does anyone want to add to that line of questioning? What the Abrahamic God is to you? Can anyone elaborate a little bit on what the enemy is to you?
I have a little bit that I want to put in there. It's nothing too long, but while I agree with the whole creator thing, I tend to view what Napoleon would refer to and many would refer to as the demiurge. I also consider that entity to be kind of a sub-creator, as in the creation that exists is not what it could be. It's intentionally limited. I mean, it would still be limited. The concept of creation implies limitation within itself, but it could be more than it is, and it's not, and it's done so deliberately to limit how much power we're able to grab and experience, to try and limit our consciousness, basically. And, I mean, even now it's not completely successful because we, through our practices, are able to tap into and get a taste of what's on the other side and of basically the limitlessness of the potential that exists within the void, because the void is infinite. It is infinite possibilities. It is a mixture of existence and non-existence. But I don't know where I was going with it after that, but I'll say more later.
Go ahead, Napoleon.
I totally agree with that point. And this the second topic I wanted to touch. That's our purpose of our ritual, what he just discussed, is opening the gates to tap into the energies, so the energy from the void, from the other side of the Sitra Akara, the energy of Satan and the Dark God can come into this creation and pull and liberate all this potential. And that's how we do the magic, the sorcery. That's the source of everything, and that's the real purpose of Satanism. I wanted to touch this to everyone. Is the focus of Satanism is not us, it's not human purpose. We are opening these gates for these entities, for this energy to come into this dimension and unleash the full potential, also the full potential in us and in creation. So we have this called the Demiurge, the Archons, which are called in the Abrahamic religions God or angels. Also, they're found like in the pagan religions too, because there is a creator god or goddesses in pagan religion, we can also refer to as the demiurge. So it has always existed.
I have a question. In certain realms of secularism, there is a concept of the fall, and the fall isn't demonstrated like it's normally described as like the angels fell and all this, because it's like outside of a religious paradigm. Instead, what it states is that for the higher to be contained or controlled or to be taken in, they want them to first have their roots, so it's called a fall, because it's sin. Do you employ certain techniques like that yourself? You know, the grounding of earth, and the solidity of the underworld, and how that works? Or, how are you applying it? Context where it to be applied?
You mean the angels, the spirit? Those are just concepts that people has created in their own mind to understand those entities. That are even like the gods of creation of the false light and the gods of darkness, they are beyond our understanding. People see it and perceive it like angels, like demons, any form. It's just part of our limited consciousness. Oh, it's just simple as that.
Yeah, because I like the way Robert was talking about it. When he was talking about the limit, I guess to be perfectly the limiting God. God that they work for this. That makes perfect sense. You think about the three, the angels, the angel birds, which are like yawn concepts of the whole, and how it binds with all you never see, so that all you can see is that so-called glory that you never come to, it's all separating. I wanted to throw that out there. It's kind of cool.
We try to keep us, if you study like Gnosticism, you feel like every time we die and our soul separates from the body, we try to ascend, but they limit us and they restrain us. Also in this life, they restrain our power, our magic, our sorcery, and that's the thing. Also, another point is we don't consider about God, the demiurge, and the archon is like personal, my own gnosis, I don't believe like God is the creator of Satan, Lucifer, like the Abrahamic religion says. For me, Satan is the first emanation from, he's the one with the voice. The demiurge and those gods, they came afterwards, like the Sumerian, Enuma Elish, in this Asian. The dark gods, like Yamat, Apsu, they were the primordial gods. It's no creation. That's just a myth that Lucifer is a creation of the so-called God. Those gods are like different, and the other gods are totally different. But I agree with that. They restrain us, and the three limitations they put in us are the first is time. Time is a great limitation for us. We are bound by time. Second is causality, this the karma or law or cause and effect. We're always bound in the universe. Yes, and third is space. We're bound to this physical bodies. Now thanks to technology, we are like doing some magic. Like right now, we can see at different places communication. But these are like the three main barriers they have. And also they control like humanity a lot. If you see the world like living in a prison. I've been talking like on Facebook about that. But the problem of people that are watching us like on Facebook and things that sometimes I share like the spiritual stuff and I share like my personal view and something like that. But I want to make the point that Satanism is no mine, it's no something of any one of us. It belongs to those entities which are sentient and real from the other side. Even we sometimes like talk and discuss about mundane stuff or everything.
So, I've got a really crazy question because this is my first time to meet you or talk to you, what is your concept of Satan from your belief system, from your paradigm, your way of approaching and tackling it? What is Satan to you?
Yeah. Like myself, I was explaining. I came from different systems. I have not learned. Like I just use books and concepts, stuff like from the Temple of the Black Light, the Draconian Current, the Order of Nine Angles, just as tools. Our books. In my own gnosis, Satan is, which is just a title, or Lucifer, or Echo Majoral, or Absu, whatever you want. Just is beyond our human comprehension. It's like the impulse, the messenger of the unknown and nameless divinity of the void. He's like the highest of the dark God, and he's not a creation of the demiurge, like of the so-called God of the wildlife religion, how people think of rebellious angels. For me, Satan is like the highest entity. We call like Sabayo, which is Yahweh backwards, which means it's another impulse from the primordial void that is going to go to creation. Like on further videos, I was thinking I was going in the future to discuss different topics. First is about who is Satan. Second, who is God. Third, who is man, the human being. Also about the fourth is about life. And finally, what is death, which is something for the future. But this, according to my gnosis, what we call Satan, like generally speaking, using this Hebrew word as the adversary, which is means the enemy, the adversary of God, of the demiurge of Lucifer, is the bringer of the light of the true God, with in Hebrew we call the El Aper, the other God, the other unknown God, with the bringer of that light. These are just titles that we used just to try to understand this entity. But this is my definition.
I get that, because on the path of apotheosis, it's not that you're not giving credence to an entity being an actual entity or an intelligence or consciousness, but if you're going to apply their teachings or their techniques or to become like them, you have to, in a sense, you have to turn them into masks or titles or things of that nature so that you can attain to that level or to that energetic vibration so that you can become, in essence, that entity or that being. But with it comes like tons of, there's all kinds of like trials and stuff that you gotta overcome. You know, that's when the shit from deep down inside comes up to the surface. That's why I was curious about that. So, dude, that's pretty tight. I mean, you can apply that exact same model to all spirits and entities, and you can actually get somewhere with that. So that's kind of neat.
I have some input to put about that, actually. Okay, how to articulate this the best I can right now. So, I have seen adherents to the 218 current, particularly hardline adherents that really hardly accept influence from any other sources other than the literature from NAA 218. I have seen it said that the Cliffot of the 218 current is not necessarily the Cliffot of other models. And the case that's made for it is that just because they're using, I guess you could say, the same forms, the same names, the same masks, that through their intent, those forms are filled with a different essence, basically. I would like to cite the book of Sitra Achra. Early in the book, it says, the author gives credit to Rabbi Nathan of Gaza, but also especially to the Order of the Golden Dawn, and says that much of what they laid down is basically the foundation for how they view, I guess you could say, the structure and attribution of the Qliphoth. But it's followed up by saying, however, that through the work that they've cultivated, the essence of the work would differ radically from what the Order of the Golden Dawn would have considered to be hypothic, basically. So, yeah, that's all. That's the end of the info I have there.
I totally agree. Like, in my own experience, like, I have the study also. I was working with the draconian current of the Temple of Ascending Flames, and also it's like the current 218. They have their own understanding of the Qliphoth, their own gnosis. There are things which, in many things, I agree with them. I have reached the same gnosis. Like, I don't belong to any organization right now because I follow my own personal path. But I totally agree with you that they have their own gnosis, their own understanding of the Qliphoth of these entities, which is different than, for example, the Order of Golden Dawn or the Draconian Current of the Temple of Ascending Flames of Dragon Rouge, other organizations, the Swedish group. So they have their own gnosis in the book of Sitra Akra, and that's good. And then my advice, if people want to follow this so they don't get confused, is to connect and follow those steps. I know this is a hard, demanding path. It's not for everyone. That I wanted to point out in the beginning. This path is not like for somebody that they just want to dabble or play with it. It's for people that they feel this connection, this inner flame with them, and they want to connect. And there must be like willing to do whatever it takes. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of things. Like there's rituals, secrets that we must be willing to do whatever it takes, even if it's against the law of man or the law of the merge, just to fulfill that.
I can agree with that for sure.
Any question? Like another point is like people who are new to Satanism. I know many people who are new, especially new ones, will be watching this. They ask if we have like animal sacrifice rituals, human sacrifice rituals, abortion rituals, suicide rituals. Yes, within the secret rituals are like that because human blood is the key for that. But that's the advanced part, and that's because this is real Satanism. It's not like the Lavanian stuff, which is focused on human being believing that Satan is man, that God is man. No, this is real, and we work in to open these gates for this entity, for this energy to flow. And another point, like one of you were discussing, is yes, we can challenge to us this energy, and doing the channeling within using our bodies like a living temple for them. That's one of the ways that we can do it. And also we can channel like through our altar devices and different ways.
Oh,
Yeah, you can, one of the,
Waylon, give me a second. Let me ask him a question. Can you hear me, Napoleon?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to back up the statement that Lucifer is not a fallen angel. A lot of people on Facebook will say, you're just a puppet for a fallen angel. They have no clue. First of all, I've been in the presence of celestial beings. Angels feel robotic. They're responsive. Lucifer has his own free will. Angels were not created with free will. And the means that the demiurge keeps us trapped. I wanted to ask you, what is Metatron's cube? There are conflicting opinions and theorem and what people think Metatron's cube is. I wanted to get your take on what is Metatron's cube.
Well, they're like different archons. There's something that with the ruling, like basically, in most traditions, like the ruling archon is the Saturnian one, and Metatron is one of the archons because they are good. Actually, that's another point. Like, I don't believe in monotheistic religion. I believe all religions are polytheistic because there are many gods and goddesses and many entities, and they call it like angels. And I agree with you. Like, those angels are just emanations, like robots, emanations from the Demiurge, and they follow that. And if we see that like the theosophy of Blavatsky, I believe that we are the real fallen angels. We are like divine spirits trapped in these vessels of clay. We human beings, we are the true fallen angels trapped here in these limitations and trying to develop, to fight within us. And concerning Metatron, which I have barely studied, is one of the ruling archons with a lot of control. They try to control the destiny of man, the fate, and the universe, the formation of the material universe. They did it by vibration, because everything, like if we study Hermetism, everything is vibration. What they did is they took chaos, made it vibrated at a lower frequency, and they created matter, the material universe.
And these archons, they gave us their mind too. They gave us their brain. So this is what makes it the path difficult, because the mind cannot journey back into the void. A limited consciousness cannot go to the absolute, because the finite cannot comprehend infinity. So really, in a way, you have to break down your own mind, your own consciousness. This is a journey for the heart. Only the spirit can go. You know, you leave the mind at a certain way, you leave the soul at a certain way, and only I hear that the heart actually becomes a Nexian in there. That the heart has to journey through the void.
That's why it's seen as temperate. And the tree is because it is the way in is the way out. And I imagine there's a lot of teachings concerning that your mind will only get you so far. Your will only get you so far, but that it's the spirit within, its magnificence, which is what it's referred to in certain high magic cultures or systems. That is the brilliance of the spirit. And it's just think of it as like being like I hate to say it, but like being a super saiyan or some shit like that. You know, it's the spirit of flame with power and just pure presence, pure being. It's beyond mind and it's beyond the will. Because think of it this way, your mind can project to a certain point, but there's a certain point where it has no knowledge, no nothing. Okay? And then when you get to the edge of your vision where you can see no further, your will only get you so much further past that point. And past that point, it's all up to your spirit whether or not it can make that projection, whether it can, it's powerful enough to do that. There's all kinds of things behind that. So yeah, I absolutely agree there.
Yeah, I agree with you, brother. And it's that topic is like very. The thing is, also what I have studied in theosophy, you study a lot about the soul. There are like 7 layers of the soul that we are trapped. It's like an onion, so it's very hard for our flame to connect or to ascend. And what Cody was saying was about, yes, it's hard for us to connect with the world. Like I have done like thousands of rituals, and I have been practicing this since I was 11 years old, and I have done, and it's very hard. But we can get this connection with this entity, with this. It's hard, but we can do it. And also we experience that. But the thing is, our flame, our spirit, is trapped within the soul, and the soul has 7 layers, like 7 planets. And then we have this physical body, which is made of different things. And it's really bound to that. And even when we die, just literally the soul and the spirit can return to your voice. This is like bound by this is not serious incarnate in this process. This is my personal opinion.
I think that you originally, you had said, coming along, you were saying that, I'm sorry, it's a little bit loud, I can't hear you on it. Didn't you say something about fallen angels, and that's where mankind falls in, with a fire within the clay?
Yeah, exactly. Like we're like this vessel, like we are the angels, the flame. Some of
Yeah,
us.
he's saying we are the fallen angels.
Yeah,
I agree with that totally.
Well, I've heard that elsewhere.
But the problem is, some of us has lost our are just plain born, just like robot animated beings. Just few people still have their flame burning within them. This divine, the true divinity, not the false god, worshipped and followed by the mundane.
Well, I have to disagree with one. Well, let's one at a time. I have to disagree with one point that Cody made. He said that the archons that we have our minds are controlled by the archons to a certain extent. There is an overarching vibration and field that surrounds the earth that influences most human beings. Those with the black flame of Azoth that are fully awake. There are different methods that you can lessen the influence of the demiurge or Yahweh.
Yeah, that's like a bumper.
Yeah, exactly. Our minds, we have to get in touch with the void takes tremendous concentration. Like you said, Napoleon, it takes rituals, it takes work, it takes connection with the elder gods. But they do not control our minds. If they did control our minds, we would not be having this conversation.
No, they don't control our minds, but they give us
They do have a lot of
like reason and like
I
so
misunderstood.
reason and logic can only get you so far, but they gave most people basic robotic minds, putting 2 + 2 = 4, just basically the structure of the mind and the desire for order for most people, and basically our desires and our tastes and stuff like that. Also government conformity. I think and there's a lot of implants and shit too that got to be burned and removed out. I see the demiurge also too on the human level as the internal policeman. So that little voice in your head that says, nope, that's bad, that's wrong, not, it says, oh, you're being a bad boy or something like that, turn around. So we have to kill that voice. That is one of many voices and many things that we have to kill within ourselves to make room for this alien presence.
Well, that's primarily the function of the elder gods. To break down the corrupted programming and to reprogram us. But this is an ongoing process. It's not like one day you wake up and you've been reprogrammed, you're free from the influence. It doesn't work like that. You have to reinforce your connection with the you have to kindle the black flame. You have to get the blood of kingdom flowing in a way that is not interrupted. When you go to sleep, you can be flowing perfectly. You can have an excellent connection with the elder gods, and you can go to sleep and it's wiped out. The field lays over you again, and it's back to the drawing board. So what you said about the field sweeping the earth, that's definitely the case. But this is something that we have to foster. This is something that we have to constantly work on, our connection with the elder gods. Go ahead, Brian. What were you saying?
Yeah, I have some input that I want to give, actually, and I'm actually glad that a few other people got to speak before I jumped in and gave this input because it let me flesh this out a little bit more. Okay, on the subject of mind and brain and consciousness, this is my personal view. I believe that thought and consciousness are not necessarily the same thing. And I came to this conclusion after contemplating the wording or the title of Thoughtless Light. Because to truly understand that concept, you have to strip away conventional ideas of what thought is. Because if a normal mundane person hears you say that something is thoughtless, they're going to think that it's basically mindless or without a consciousness and is basically just a stupid zombie, basically. But I've found with forces that I consider manifestations of what Sabbatean terminology would call thoughtless light, I've found that these forces are highly intelligent and beyond our comprehension. So how could they be thoughtless? Well, basically, you have to break it down like this, in my view. Thought is something linear. Consciousness, pure consciousness, uncorrupted by linear thought, which linear thought is a limiting concept in itself, because every thought has a beginning and an end. It's a corruption or limitation placed upon consciousness. Because, I just want to, as a reference, I have a friend who's deep into Eastern practices. Specifically, he actually studied under, I'm not going to drop his name here, but he actually studied under an Agori guru. And this guru stressed upon him the importance of being able to bring yourself to a state of consciousness where you have just no thought. And it doesn't mean that your mind is wiped or empty. It just means you've reached a state where you are not confined to your consciousness having to specifically focus on the beginning and end and the ins and outs of a specific topic. You are simultaneously aware. It's like omnipresence of consciousness, basically, when you reach a state of no thought. And as for the subject of mind, I believe mind is kind of the intermediary between the brain, which is something material and finite and definable, and then consciousness, which is something more abstract. I believe mind is kind of the intermediary between how our consciousness and our brain interacts. And that's all I have to say there.
I fucking love that.
I agree with you, and I
Thank you.
think thought is one of the limitations we forgot to time is related like that. We like past, present, and future. And also we thought it has, like, as you explained it brilliantly, like a beginning and an end. But when we transcend that, we have this graded consciousness behind any thought, behind anything. And we can also transcend this one of the limitations. And that's probably why they call this entities like thoughtless, nameless entities, because they're behind these barriers, behind these bounds.
I wanted to say something a while ago. There's an author by the name of Gil de Laval. Now, Laval, in one of his books, he states right at the very beginning of it, concerning his workings, concerning his writings and all his books, he says he's not trying to change your mind or to make you believe something, but that he wants you to adopt the paradigm so that you can garner results from the actual material he presents. Now, what's so important about this is, and it's the reason why apotheosis is my bag. A certain type of Satanism might be another person's, Luciferianism might be another's, and so forth and so on, is because within those paradigms, as you hold on to it, you get built apart.
Okay.
And so it made me think a lot about what you were saying, Napoleon, about some of the implementations of your belief systems and the way that you employ them, concerning your thoughts on Satan and so forth and so on. I think that no matter who we are, no matter what we're practicing, I think that it's important in that concept that we were discussing earlier, that we have a paradigm or something that it is that we adhere to. That way any system of magic that we're working can be practically applied to. So that you actually get results from it. Otherwise, it's just free flowing wild out there, and who knows how it's going to land or how it's going to look. It's like opening up all the gates to hell, all the gates to the different hells, and just being like, I'm going to rule over them all. It's like, well, it's kind of hard to have all those forces out at one time. You might be a badass, but after that, be a badass. You might want to work on mastery first, over the singular pieces before you go crazy with it. Now, on the next part, the thing Ryan was talking about with consciousness and so forth, that dude, I could have said that better if I could find. Back 20-something years ago, I came up with a concept called no mind. And it's where literally thought is just the chatter of the mind. It's everything from your thoughts to the impressions you pick up on. It just influences is what we could call that. And when you break free of that, you're definitely in that zone.
About what Ryan was saying earlier about thoughtless consciousness, I like a good analogy of actually how many people see what's in front of them, actually see a full image that's there. Some people, they look at a swastika, they just see the arms, but let's talk about seeing the spaces between the arms, or they look at a pentagram and the spaces in between each of the blades there, seeing that full image. Whereas a thought or like a linear consciousness would focus on one part of it, would focus on just the arms or the blades and actually absorb the full image. In a sort of way like seeing through it, like seeing actually what's there, allowing the chaos, because chaos is, the spirit is all around us, it interpenetrates. So if you can see, if you can turn up your vision from like just looking at different parts of an image, whatever, all the way up to 100, and you see the full image, then you can see past that and see the spirit behind it, or get a glimpse of it, maybe like a photo or a snapshot of the spirit. Because what we're really trying to do, we're trying to take the incognizable and into the reason, to venture into the unknown. That's the occult.
That's a good point. It's the space, it's the big picture is what we're trying to get a grasp of. It's not the image, it's the spaces in between the image, around the image. Just like if you commune with these spirits, they'll tell you we are the spaces in between the seconds. And it's explained in many grimoires that if they are the spaces in between the seconds, they are outside of this linear time barrier. But Napoleon, I wanted to ask you, what dark gods are you devoted to or work with on a regular basis?
On a regular basis, I basically my work is necromancy, and I'm very devoted to Cayenne, and I've been working with the Libre Falsifier because it's more like connected to my culture. As you may know, I'm from the Dominican Republic, and I'm here right now. I share like the island with Haiti, which is the source of voodoo, and I have met even I have some Haitian neighbors, and the necromancy, like the connection with the dead, it has to be important. Working with it, the saint of death is one of my main entities that I work. Also with some of the demons like Belial. Also I'm devoted to Hecate in the darkest, not in this pagan New Age concept, but in the darkest aspects of Hecate, and also connected to her. And that, but basically my own work with the spirit of the dead and with the saint of the dead, which is embraced by Cain, the first Satanist, the first murder. In that, and this is only in some traditions that they have with that. This is my main focus, because I started with that, like doing cemetery works with the bones, and also I wanted to add something like one problem I believe is we use a lot of our brain, our mind, our analyzing everything. And I feel like we need to use more our heart, our feelings to connect with the other. Because if we're like limited by our eyes, by our senses, it's hard for us to connect. So we need to try to let go of our bodies and connect through our hearts to the energy of our hearts. That's one point that I wanted to add. And another one is using our blood. Like using just some drops of your blood, if you want, over a sigil on paper, and burning incense. That's going to help you a lot to overcome like anything of the demiurge, also to connect with the demons or to those entities. Incense is in practice of any demonic or lymphatic night. It's very important because it's this smoke is like very close to the spiritual realm. Again, and also you use the essence of dead plants. I suggest that you collect your plants, dry them, and use them for instance. And that's one of the points that I would like to give advice to people to use it for connect. And I really agree, like what you share is very important, like any one of your topics.
Would you suggest to burn the herbs? Like King Paimon suggested to me that he said that he likes mint. So would I put the mint on top of the sigil or burn it? Would you suggest burn it in its candle?
Burn it in a censer, burn it in fire, and you pass by the sigil to catch the energy. And you charge the sigil using your blood. But using incense is very important. But your own incense, not like something you buy like somewhere. Try to dry your plants and burn them. Burn the leaves, the part of the plant. Because the plants, they have this spirit with them. And they are very connected. They're like that plant. Also you can use like also the human, it could be human or animal bones and burn them too. They have given me like good results. Something I wanted to share.
Yeah, because you're connecting with Cain when he gave his offering to Yahweh and he rejected it, his offering of plants. So that connected and resonated with me
Exactly.
well.
You got the point. So the plant spirit also, you see like liver falciparum too, you see a lot of plant spirits. You have also the sigils, also you have incense formula, and something I have been working. I have been working before I found the books, because it's a spirit. But I found like amazing with this like the connection. I've been just trying by myself using these formulas and that stuff. And then when I found out about the books, I found this it was like amazing, because it was something that I started practicing as a kid.
Okay. I actually have some input that I actually want to give to Joseph when it comes to offerings. You talked about how if you'd either place the offerings on the sigil or burn them. This isn't really anything in any real depth to add to the nuances of this. I would say take the sigil and then place like a bowl over it, and then burn them in the bowl that's placed over the sigil. I only say that because that's how I've done things. Well, this isn't how I've done it every time, but like for example, in the Falxifer series, there's a specific sigil for making offerings upon, and how I would personally approach it is to like place an offering bowl over the sigil, and then burn them in the bowl over the sigil. That's just how I'd do it. And if I were in the context of offering mint to King Paimon, I would place the bowl over his sigil and before I offer the mint, if I have like actual like mint leaves and shit, I would place the leaves in front of me, and I'd focus them and pray to the black and green to empower and awaken the full spiritual essence of that plant, and then I would offer it to make the mint leaves a more potent offering.
Thank you, kind.
Yeah, because
I appreciate that.
What was that?
That goes through the full, the phase of the plant itself from growth to death, right?
What about the 4 days of plant to growth and death? Sorry,
Right, the green to black. That's the plant that's alive and healthy, and then as it dies and decays. So that's kind of interesting, dude.
Well, from this context, black and green, basically, like how some shamans, different types of shamans, believe that like every animal has like a ruling master spirit,
Yeah.
or multiple master spirits, depending on your context, on how you view it. Like there could be a ruling demonic master spirit of an animal, and then like a ruling angelic spirit of an animal. The same thing applies to plants, and that's how I view the black and green. The black and green of any given plant is the specific ruling demonic intelligence of that plant. That's how I view the black and green.
Dude, that's pretty tough.
Yes.
Another thing we're getting some background noise. It's prescribed that if whoever's not talking to mute their microphone. That's what I've been doing, so we don't catch residual noise. If you're having trouble finding the button to mute it, don't worry about it. But yeah, Cody, how's this sound to you so far?
I mean, it sounds all right. Sounds all right. You all sound clear.
Yeah, also, I have been able to hear you too, and yeah, and yes, that was good. I was hearing the whole suggestion, yes, to play the over the sigils. Also, I wanted to add that, like in the Brazilian tradition, the sigils, they have like crosses or marks where you place like the candles for activation, and over them you place like the incense burning. But that's just a method, and you need to find which one is better for you and which works better.
See, I like hearing all this different stuff, man. You guys just keep giving me ideas.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's all about practice and experimentation and how you feel and how you do it. Also, I suggest that to take notes, like write your magical journal and how things go.
Napoleon, I wanted to ask you if do you have any formal education?
Yes, formal education if you want to know about my mundane life, and that's yes, I have a.
No, I'm not talking about. You can talk about that, but I was talking about as far as like magic, mystery schools.
Oh, magic, mystery schools. I was working in the Temple of Sending Flames, also on the Dragon. Just a little bit to learn from that, but. No, I'm not into any group or organizations. I think they just help you to a certain level, but you need to follow your own path as a practitioner of the left-hand path. But it's a personal choice to want, like, to belong to a group or to our organization. But no, right now I don't have like a formal. I'm like self-initiated to that. That's how I started. Also, I've been like alone most of my life before I found people online, and that's why I created like my Facebook page and sharing with like-minded individuals. Also, because in my country, I live in a Catholic country. Also, our friend from Poland, he lives also in a Catholic country. Here's even metal music is very restricted and everything like that, and there's very few people that shares my. I've been practicing alone secrecy, just but and just some interactions with some groups like online, that's that, but not like I don't belong to any organization.
Thank you for that. Hey guys, is there any questions that you've been that you wanted to ask Napoleon? I'm done pretty much half of my questions that I wanted to ask.
I have only one thing that was burning in the back of my mind.
Yeah, go ahead, because we only share it through Facebook, which is very confusing and informal, because I just post sometimes spiritual stuff, sometimes about my personal life, sometimes my personal opinion, and I read your comments and that stuff, and it's an honor for me, like, to be with you guys, and also to know each other better, to share, also to help people that will be listening to this in their own path. And if you have a question, anything, welcome. Go ahead.
This is kind of an important one to me. I've seen over the off and on years that I've been friends with you on Facebook, I've seen posts from you that talk about magic and talk about sorcery and how they relate to the satanic path. And I've seen you say that magic is not Satanism, and I've seen you bash the idea of magicians, but I've also seen you talk about satanic magic, and I've also seen you say that sorcery rather than magic is more, I guess you could say, important and more directly related to the satanic path. So basically, what my question is, what do you believe are the overlapping similarities and the key differences that distinguish magic and sorcery?
Yeah, I got it. The things that I've been trying to distinguish, for me, Satanism is like devil worship. It's the path of Satan. It doesn't have anything like a mundane purpose, like get money, get a good girlfriend, get a good job, like what we do like in magic or sorcery. Satanism is just focused on that. And magic is energy manipulation. It is energy from our thoughts, from our mind, from the other people, from anything. And we can use it like for ourselves and satanic magic to fulfill the purpose of Satan and the dark arts. And that's that. So in that aspect, they overlap. And sorcery, I have distinguished sorcery and work with spirits. A spirit like demonic, from plant, from animal, more with the spirit. The spirit like we are more ancient, like real entities. But with magic is more broad, because magic you can be like atheistic or theistic, because you just see it from an energetic paradigm. You just need to believe in energy, like electricity, and you can do magic. So magic is manifesting your will, manifestation will in this reality. And some people, what they use is like basically like Christian or Jewish magic, the magic of the demurge, and they get like the fruits manifesting that stuff. But also you can use magic, energy manipulation in Satanism to fulfill the purpose of Satan, the dark arts. And with sorcery is connected more work with this demonic entities and with this entity. Because the sorcery comes from the word to encircle. It's like energy, but energy that you use to open a gate and manifest this entity, like in invocation of demons, and working with this more with traditional witchcraft. And what I have done on Facebook is making a difference, and sometimes people get confused that. I have done this because most people, they're just selfish. They just get into the to get money, to get something like that, to become famous. For some living gods, like some people, I'm not going to mention name, believing that they're God, they're Satan, that's that personal purpose. That. And For me, they're just like magicians, like LaVey, Crowley, and that stuff. Because they're not like aligned with the purpose of Satan, the dark arts, which has a no human purpose. Because the purpose is to return everything to the void and the annihilation of everything on that. So I have made this difference. Sometimes confusing because people believe it, but you can work with different with each one of them. But I don't think them like the same. Like I believe most people are just into magic, just playing with energies.
Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
I wanted to say,
I can agree with that. Well, I'd say that I practice both, most definitely, per the distinctions that have been made there.
Yeah,
I practice both. I resort to. All four.
Like I practice magic, necromancy, witchcraft, and Satanism, and overlapping all of them. So that's how we
But
see it.
specifically with magic and sorcery, when it comes to using your will to gain material things, I do that when it's necessary. I don't strive to do it. I don't strive to base my entire practice around living the best physical, mundane life possible, because this mundane existence is something that I strive to go beyond. But I do engage in magic for the bare necessities of just maintaining my existence so that I can continue the work that I'm doing. And at the same time, I also do sorcery that is entirely abstract and does not necessarily immediately benefit me in any kind of way of mundane enjoyment or bettering my own life. Like I do attempts at eonic workings, trying to thin the veil. I do devotional workings, and I do rites of invocation and evocation that do not necessarily directly benefit me in my mundane life, but do help me spiritually in kind of abstract, non-quantifiable ways. So I kind of see the point that a lot of people make when it's like...
And that one is what I call satanic magic. The one that you do for no mundane purpose or no personal purpose. And that thank you a lot for adding up to this topic. Exactly, it's like that. That's how I see it, and I have just named it like that.
I don't mean to interrupt. Cody, can you please try to add Wayland? He dropped out of the conversation.
1 second.
Try to add him. Another thing, Napoleon, your notices on Facebook is second to none. I really appreciate your notices on Facebook. And as far as gaining material and magic, I'll share a little bit of notices from Belial. Some of my first contacts with Belial, he asked me, what do I desire? He visualized, in my head I visualized.
I don't know how to add him. I don't. I just see a check mark next to his name. Pressing it doesn't do anything.
Okay, I'll try to add him so you can get my point. So Belial injected a vision into my head of a pile of money. I said, no, this is not what I want. I just desire to know about you. Please influence, please sit with me. I want to hold your energy. I just desire to know you. I feel like he was putting me into a category by asking me what I desired, what he could do for me. And on the contrary, I asked what I could do for him. And I feel like that placed me in a different category. I feel like I passed the test or something. Because as far as mundane goals, under my own power, I can achieve anything I need in the mundane world. And I am sympathetic to the fact that it's not like that for everyone, and I don't look down on people that use magic. By all means, use magic to better your life, to catapult yourself, to exalt yourself into any realms that you wish. But as far as spiritual gnosis, I just desire to sit with you, Spirit. I desire to know about them, I want to know their thoughts. I want to know where they come from. Just the knowledge. The knowledge is what I'm after. I don't care about what your political stances are. I don't care about anything like that. The gnosis is what I'm after, and I appreciate the gnosis that you bring to the table. All of you guys, Cody, Ryan, I really appreciate you guys for the knowledge that you are bringing to the table, knowledge that you're bringing to the people. So I just want to thank you guys for that. And, thanks for being on here, Napoleon.
Yeah, it has been an honor for me and to share with you. I have also learned a lot from you guys, and I'm sure because we got like the energy flowing. It's like no us. It's like this energy flowing through our mind, through our body, through our souls. And I believe this is really important. Because so far I just have shared some stuff on Facebook that is might, and Facebook there are a lot of fake and mundane people. Sometimes I think it just close the page and do the stuff. Also a lot of gossip. But I hope this little program can reach these people and motivate them to practice. If you don't want to practice the magic, Satanism, and that. Also, people now they have a lot of time because of the COVID-19, and I really want to invite them that they must practice and learn by themselves. Also, with the topic with the theistic and atheistic, you want to learn like the spirits are real, they are in your mind or outside your mind. You need to find it by yourself. I can't even tell you. We know our Abrahamic religion. We know how to convert people, convince people. You need to find it by yourself. It's a long journey. It's your path. And this is my message, to our viewers.
So real quick, I wanted to get into the unknowable reality versus the manifested reality, and anyone here can answer this question. So basically, why exactly do demonic entities from the Sitra manifest so terrifyingly? You know, many heads, tentacles, like Hydra, and it got me thinking about the void, and it got me thinking about psychedelic. It's not them that's scary and chaotic. It's actually this world is so dense and so heavy and so material and so just like fucking dense that anything like truly spiritual, anything even beyond like the demiurge or even anything within the demiurgic like grid works, anything within the astral grid works or anything just elevated to begin with is gonna fucking look like it's got multiple heads and things like that, almost like a kaleidoscope effect, because something that's completely highly vibrational is incursion into a causal reality. And then it got me thinking that maybe once we get into the void, it'll be actually pretty beautiful, lots of colors, and I think it's even said in the enemy book there, the Bible, that like in the kingdom there's like colors and stuff that no one has ever seen. So in the void is actually, I hate to say order, but it's actually more just a highly, highly complex and highly, highly advanced grid work in comparison to the very, very, very simple grid work that the material universe is running on.
I kind of agree. I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Another word for it would be the hyperspheres or the hyperplanes or hypercausal.
Well, I had some visions during an attempt to distinguish between, I guess you could say, cosmic spiritual principles and anti-cosmic spiritual principles. And basically the distinction was this. First I saw a pyramid, still, in one place, stagnant, not moving, locked into one place. And then I see a hovering pyramid rotating around and moving around, doing like these strange, like, this is an oversimplification, but like these Rubik's Cube-like motions. And it's just constantly changing and shifting, like almost like what you'd see from like a transformer transforming, but it never transforms into one singular form. It's just constantly in that motion, like perpetually transforming. And among the walls of it, there's these glyphs that are like moving, like they're animated and rotating and shit. And I still don't know completely what that means, but I kind of, I don't know what else to add upon that, but yeah. Just figured I'd put that out there.
I really agree, and you got me like goosebumps when you mentioned that, because I have like got like similar with the Puranas, and like these cosmic forces seems like stagnant, like solid, they don't change, and the anti-cosmic forces keep like moving, changing without like this flowing energy. And what Cody was asking is they like manifest like a horrible creatures with that. Because when they enter here, they're like warriors. Warriors like monsters trying to fight their battles for the merge. And also our minds is different because they're like aliens in this cosmos. But that was like a really beautiful explanation with the I have like similar vision. One is like very solid and the other one is like flowing in of many changes of transformation individuality. Sorry for the word, because English is not my language. So I hope you understand. This is how I see the Sutra. A lot of transformation, a lot of conflict, change, movement. It's not stagnant.
It's never stagnant. It's always flowing. So, Joe, would you like to share with us again what King Paimon told you about life and death, and about what happens when we die?
Oh yeah, so it's irrelevant. This is about a week and a half ago. I was in a session with King Paimon, and he asks a lot of questions. Actually, I listened to him talk, but he asks a lot of questions. So he asked me, do you think you're alive? And I said, I perceive myself as being alive, having a human experience. He said, this is incorrect. When you incarnate into the world of matter, you are actually in a state of death. You will come to life after you pass. So when Universe B is the real life, is the real world. We are in a state of death, is what he wanted to convey to me. And he said, don't be afraid of death. Upon your, you have made enough alliances at this point. Upon your death, we will be there. And it is said that only the elder spirits, can wrestle you from the grips of Yahweh. So they assured me that they will be there when I die. So I have faith in that. It's not the type of faith that a Christian would have. This is faith in the demons. So this life is, Universe A is the false reality, as Napoleon previously stated. And another thing that he mentioned, travel. So when you die, they pick you up and prepare to travel, is what he said.
That actually ties into what I was saying about the Abrahamic God, about him being a sub-creator, actually. I don't have much to add beyond that, but yeah, this isn't me interjecting or shooting down anything you just said. I'm just
No.
That's
I value your
input,
100%. Yeah, I value your input.
That's pretty confirming, actually. But yeah, a lot of people look at an anti-cosmic perspective and they think the whole anti-human, anti-life thing. I wouldn't necessarily call it anti-life. I'd call it anti-life as we know it, because life as we know it is an enslaving concept. Life as we know it is the very reason that we are subject to these concepts of mortality and death and stuff. And to worship death is not necessarily to be against life, it's to be against life as we know it. It's to be against these mortal concepts that are cosmically imposed upon us. Basically, to worship death isn't to necessarily be like, oh, fuck it, I hate this tree, fuck it, I hate this squirrel in front of me. It's more, I hate the limitations that have been placed upon life as we know it, and that is something holy in that if you achieve like an unfated death that's not cosmically written for you, you have been released from the mortal shackles and are able to transcend the limits upon the concept of life that we are subjected to in these shells that we walk in.
So I'm just going to share a little bit of this Sefer Satanis by Temple of Night. So a little bit of background. This kid's having a conversation.
Nexion. All right, let's hear this.
He's having basically a conversation with a girl who just sucked his dick outside of a bar.
Oh boy.
So basically, I'm not going to read you the whole story, but she just sucked him off, and okay, so this is the initiate talking. All the talk about death, destruction, and mundanity. This is something that isn't this something very carnal that just happened? And then the woman answers back, no, not the way I see it. I met a guy with long hair who's probably 10 years younger than me. We went back to his car so I could suck his cock until he was screaming. She said, I don't understand. I know you're confused about whether or not we want to destroy everything physical or not. Yes, that's exactly what I'm confused about, he said. Well, I'm sure everyone has their own take on it, but this is how I see it. We hate mundanity. It's actually corrosive to the potential of living. We all have to live, and that's the matter of dharma. So if we are here, we have a satanic duty to presence the dark, delicious and seductive measures of the night side, the acausal or non-being. Okay, he said. Think about it, she continued. Did we just sit here like friggin' animals and formalize a legal agreement or perform a mating call? No, you came in intending to do something very plain, the affirmation of the temple position. I had to presence the acausal. We began flirting like naughty people and retreated to a dark car to let off some steam. You're never going to forget this night, ever. No, I won't, he said jovially. This is how we live, to the fullest, because we strive to be at one with the impetus of chaos. A day for us isn't just 24 hours. It's filled with the intoxication of the abyss. So what about destroying the universe? Isn't that the ultimate goal, he asked. Again, according to Dharma, the world will eventually end one day. Non-being, the pneumon and acausality, all being are the same thing, and are actually corrosive to mundanity. So it's not causality that's corrosive to acausality, or acausality that is corrosive to causality. The only relationship that becomes aversive to the anti-cosmic origin is to dive in the excesses of vulgarity, which is the Brutus fixation on the plane. So you're not trying to destroy the universe, he asked, seeming wholly quizzical. This type of thing is going to happen naturally. Everyone you know, and all of this, she said as she gestured around, will be gone one day. You can't stop it. That's the way the causal realm works. However, part of our dark enlightenment is that the eternal and constantly changing being, which is non-being, exists inside of us. That will continue on and return home. So like the soul? No, the soul is a false perception, an impermanent photograph of who you believe you are inside, or at least finer points. People tend to have a very selective memory when dealing with their self-perception. So it's not the soul we're talking about, it's something much more dynamic. I don't really follow. Well, think about who you were 6 months ago. Are you the exact same person? I think so. No, you aren't. If you think you are lying to yourself. The mind changes faster than the body. I guess I've taken up some different hobbies. Yes, you have. Who we are inside, what we're made of, is from the void, and the void is a rolling wave of chaos crashing into itself over and over again. So you're saying that I'm void, he asked. She stared at him without answer. I'm sorry, I just don't understand, he said, fearing that he had provoked some form of animosity. No, I'm not angry. I just couldn't provide you with an answer that would have made sense of that question. A guru lived a very, very long time ago, cautioned his fellow travelers of the countryside, and babbling, I am void, because it's not constructive for anyone, alchemically speaking. So I'm not void? The void is beyond duality. That is the key to the secret of the abyss. You are void, and the void is composed entirely of subjective potential. The personal lens, many of them, but yours belongs to your experience. When I die, like you say I have to, what will become of me? Void. Will I be myself? You will be beyond opposites, in connection with what you innately are. Void. You will be you. You will not be you at the same time. So it is much better to say that you will be more. So that is what I wanted
like
to share.
that.
Yeah, that was.
I really like that.
That's solid too. I want to share this real quick. This is reinforcing Napoleon's statement that we are the fallen. Hold on one second. I just got to turn down my child's freaking game. All right. So this is from the book Egregore by Valentin Scaver. So say the fallen, we the Nephilim, born in the darkness, in the heavens anathema, cut off from the spirit by fury and power of proudness. Never we see dreams, eternally wake, from the realm of the damned gods. From the stars are we, which fallen from the firmament, from the spheres, defiled by disobedience. We are the ancestors of furious warriors and human kings, the dark genesis of those who rise up among mankind. We have been here since the era of man's creation. To this day, we reign over the time of the wicked, times of the iron ones, rusty ones, ascension ones. We came temporarily in the darkness of ages. We, the true Nephilim, the leaders of the giants of the and archons of observers, rulers of the sources of the rebellious spirits, established on earth, owners of the circle of ancient lands, from the first to the least last breath, true gods of the other's humanity. And that backs up the statement that Paimon said to me. True gods of the other's humanity, true rulers of the past and future, who once appeared before men as gods of storms and gods of sorcery, gods of winds, heat, and dust, the gods of rising moon and eclipses of the sun, and the blow of the elements, gods of thunder, wars, and lightning. We, the Nephilim, mentors of the wise women, of those who have forged the glorious man, lords of ferocious, hungry, unearthly passion in human hearts, shedding of the open hell, iron of the telluric spheres. We are demonic roots of elemental force and spirits, the height which breathing with boldness, and as the flame of fury, as the whole spectrum of earthly darkness, and the ever-scorching eye of heat, in the rising storm, whirlwinds, and the midday sunshine. We are the presence of the black eternity, and the breath of the stringent night. Awake, violently, egregori. So that was Valentin Scaver. Fucking good. He's something else, that guy. So that backs up the point that Napoleon made.
Yeah, that was like really powerful, really inspiring words that we can discover our own divinity and who we truly are. And when we discover, we will find our own value, our own power, and start separating from the mundane. Until that, those are amazing words, very powerful. That that will help to ignite this flame and gain this true knowledge of the self. And also, I wanna to add is it helps us also to nullify the ego nullification that this whole persona that we believe who we are, and we discover the true self, which is also part of the journey.
Napoleon, is there any other gnosis that you wanted to add, just like personal gnosis that when we get off this phone, you're going to be like, fuck, I really wanted to say this. So if there's anything that you really wanted to lay across. I'm sorry, Ryan. Hold on to that, please.
Yes, the final, because what we were reading got me like really inspired. Like, I don't plan everything, I just let things flow like that. And this is important that we discover our own nature, who we truly are, and our desire to return to this origin, to this void. And we discovered that this path is not for everyone. That's the first thing. Only for the elite. It doesn't matter to be like if you're rich, you're white, mundane stuff like color skin, sexuality, anything like that. It's about creating this otherness. Like this is my message for the new people, that they feel that they don't belong to this world, that they have this connection, that we feel alien to this world. And because of that, we are like this fallen angel during the black flame of Satan and the dark gods, and we have the blood of Hindu running through our veins, and we are waters. And also, this is kind of personal. I believe we need to strengthen ourselves on point that is like, I don't like super like lazy people. I believe we need to strengthen our body, our mind, like to exercise, to work out, to do martial arts. That's going to help us. And it's not about destroying. Like, I believe I got banned on Facebook, and my last post says like I post like true Satanism, like anti-life, anti-human, anti-God. Anti-life means what you explained, guys. Like, it's about humanity, the mundane, but also the humanity of our weakness. We need to, because it requires discipline, hard work. This is how we destroy the humanity. The humanity is the subhuman draw. This subhuman draw also exists within us. And one of the rituals is burning our blood in a series and burning so that, but also strengthen ourselves. Second thing is anti-life. It's how also you explain it. This life is this limitation. What we hate here, what we hate, this limitation, this trap, that this thing. And the thing is that we hate God, but we hate the demiurge, the false God, this left God, that is the creator of this prison, this material world. Also, we need to understand that we're living in a prison. Like people claiming that they have freedom.
Thank you for that. Ryan, can you please get to your point?
Okay, so part of this ties into what Cody said from the book. I believe it was Sefer Stirner that he was reading from. The subject of destroying the universe came up, and this is one of the things that within, I guess you could say, the sinister, more visceral side of the, if you can call it the community, the satanic community that comes up, a lot of people advocate and speak against things like the 218 current and similar things that you could label anti-cosmic, because they take issue with this whole idea of destroying the universe. And I have a couple I have 2 or 3 things to say about that, actually. The fact is that anti-cosmic is both an accurate and improperly or insufficiently nuanced way of describing it, because it is against creation and it is against the cosmos, but it is not necessarily just this, when they say destroy the universe, it is sort of destroying it, but it's not in the sense of like push a red button and it all blows up. That's, I have more nuance to how I view that, because, for example, although I, per what he currently says, disagree with the author on a lot of things, the book Black Magic of Ahriman actually got me to think this concept out a lot more, and I've given, or at least now I have a lot more nuance to this concept. It's the idea that, like within Black Magic of Ahriman by Curtis Joseph, when you do the ignition of the Black Sun, you're attacking the angels, the Amesha Spentas. You're saying their name backwards after calling upon to their Div counterpart, and you're vibrating their name backwards in an attempt to speak them out of existence, but you're not doing it in a way of just utterly obliterating them. You're doing it in a way where you're speaking them out of existence by calling upon the counterpart opposing Div, and then you say their name backwards, and what you're doing is you're not obliterating them. What you're doing is taking, if you want to correlate this to Qaphotic, Kabbalistic type stuff, what you're doing is you're not obliterating them. What you're doing is you're speaking them out of existence, and in that process, you are taking their essence into yourself. You are taking this false light and you're returning and purifying it. You're returning it to its source and purifying it, and absorbing these, I guess you could say, distortions of the true divine light. So you're not just like pushing some red button and nuking the whole fucking universe. You are... Destroy is, I understand the purpose in terms of like ontological misanthropy, but you're not really destroying them, you're rather reabsorbing them. And that ties into, because I don't like to conflate deities and I don't like to conflate currents as just being different forms for the same thing, to a certain extent, because to a certain extent I do agree with that rhetoric. However, compare it to this. A hardline 218/182 practitioner I know, I was very troubled about the subject of duality, and I talked to him about it, and I said, is there a way, do you believe it is possible to accept the fact that certain divine forces are objectively opposed to each other while still transcending duality? And what he told me, mind you, this is using Kabbalistic, not Ahrimanic terminology, he said, yes, but one side must overpower the other. He said that there were basically 2 modes of Ein Sof that battle each other within the Ein Sof basically 2 rivers streaming from the same Ein, but one of them is the thoughtful light and one of them is the thoughtless light, and there are 2 rivers flowing in opposite directions. One seeks to pull away from the void into limitation, and one river flows towards the void, trying to break away from limitation, and there's a certain barrier within them, between them. And one has to overpower the other and break into the other one and take its current and pull it into itself and then pull it in the ideal direction. So I think that while in terms of on a basic mundane level describing the conflict, I understand the whole destroy the universe thing, but if we want people to understand these concepts better, we have to come up with a better wording towards it. I understand the purpose that words like that expressions like destroy the universe serve, because it scares away certain people But sometimes it might be scaring away the wrong people, because if they heard a more nuanced description of what these concepts entail, they might be more receptive to it and even immediately be like, oh shit, yeah, I'm on board with this. So, yeah, I don't know where else to go with this, but...
Brilliant point. Scaring away the brilliant scientific minds, the valuable minds that we need on board. I mean, we don't... Look, everything's going to go back into the void at one point, anyway. But, like you said, if there was a different wording and terminology, it's destroying the universe as we know it. It's not...
Yes.
So I completely...
I don't want to necessarily interrupt what you're saying, but there's one more thing I was going to say that I forgot to say that I think actually ties into this. There's also no convincing me, honestly, that there are not entities that do desire the end of, not necessarily destruction, because I just made that distinction in what I just said, but that do not desire, there's no convincing me there are not entities that do not desire the end of the mundane universe as we see it. And I have a couple reasons for it, a couple specific reasons that tie into my own actual experience. There are two specific occasions where Moloch was summoned, and his immediate response was to look around and say, this place is disgusting. At first I thought he was saying, okay, this specific location is gross, and this water in this pond next to the campsite is probably polluted. But that's not what he meant. He was talking about this material plane as it stands. And what I want to follow it up with, and more importantly, the more important part of this, is my knowledge and experience with Apep, also known as Apophis, the eternal enemy of Ra, who every day as the sun rose, because, mind you, Apep was the original sun god, and Apep stole his throne. Ra stole Apep's solar throne. Every day as the sun rises, even though he was killed every time, he kept coming back to life, and every time the sun rose, as the day started to break, Apep would resurrect and rise up from the Nile and try to black out the sun. The reason I mention this is because a lot of scientists are now starting to say that time itself will end. Time. Fucking time. And this is where it gets interesting to me, because a lot of them are saying that it's probably going to happen around the same time that the sun in our solar system dies. So the way I perceive that is basically, okay, yeah, time as we perceive it is going to end around the same time that Apep finally kills Ra.
Just the thought of that puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, and I don't have much to add on this, but also there's no convincing me that Fenrir is not what people would consider an anti-cosmic entity and shit, because I've had only a couple encounters with that entity, and I haven't worked much with the Norse paradigm, but in my couple encounters with Fenrir, yeah, he made it pretty clear that the universe as we know it is gonna fucking end.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're doing here, gentlemen, as agents of the void.
Acceleration, entropy.
As we call upon the dark gods, as we presence the thoughtless black light into this universe, as you said, Cody, it is accelerating the process.
Right, and I'm not going to name him, but to add to like what Ryan was saying earlier, ending the universe as you know it, you could almost call it a trans-cosmic agenda, because you're not really destroying the universe, you're really elevating it, you're really like making it into what it could be.
You're destroying its limitations.
Limitations, yeah, taking the brakes and limitations off of it.
Well, what I would think it would be, Universe A turns into universe A/B, a true unity, true harmony. Not this one side has to get the upper hand, then the other back and forth, back and forth. No, true unity. All the causal limits are obliterated, like Ryan suggested, the death of the sun. That would completely neutralize gravity. There's no telling what the implications of that would. I mean, the planet Earth would probably undo itself and just. But
well, I've heard a theory that the planet Earth used to be larger than it used to be, and that something or multiple things collided with the Earth and destroyed parts of it and sent parts of it out into the asteroid belt, which is funny because that ties into the hypothetical planet Phaeton, which not most people, but it's believed that the two largest asteroids that make up together approximately half of the mass of the asteroid belt are two asteroids called Pallas and Ceres, and it's believed that Pallas and Ceres were the majority of the mass of a planet called Phaeton that was actually destroyed. So, yeah, that could turn into a whole another rabbit hole for another video. But
yeah, that's not a Scientology thing, is it? Just because of the word fate.
I haven't heard of the word Phaeton specifically. Phaeton is actually the name of some obscure Greek or Roman deity. I haven't looked into it much beyond that, but
I think I heard Phaeton.
It's a hypothetical destroyed planet that was in our solar system that now makes up most of the asteroid belt, and it's named after some dead Greek or Roman deity.
And I think I hear that name in the Grimoire Verum in one of Lucifer's titles.
Phaeton, was it spelled
Phaeton.
Phaeton, like Phaeton?
It was like Phaeton, Phaethan, Phaeton.
I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
I'll send you a picture, Ryan, after this. I had a vision or a dream before where I was like reading some like ancient fucking parchment or whatever in a parking lot, and like the earth was opened up and flames were coming out of it, and then my vision panned out. It zoomed out the earth, and the earth became a star, it became a sun, and it really got me thinking. It really got me thinking of the planets. I heard from some other like weird conspiracy theorists before, like all planets are supposed to become like suns or something like that.
That's interesting you say that, because if the planet Earth did go supernova, the Fireborn would be the only ones that survive. Think about it. Our flesh would be.
Well, all of our flesh would be assimilated, but yeah, it would be the defleshing, and everything would just become a gaseous spirit or like a plasma, a spiritual like plasma.
No, so what I'm implying is those of the fallen would live on, and like Paimon said, travel. We are going to Mars. That ties in Samael. The martial energy is very important in the left-hand path, and Earthlings are. If we are going to be a space-faring people, I think that's what has to happen. This planet has to go supernova.
Yes, but sorry, I would like to. I was just thinking that I think this the vibration, the not usually like a new age term, but we're like increasing the level of vibration. Like the material plane is a lower, the Athaya, the fallen world of Athaya, using the Kabbalistic term, the fallen vibration. And what we're trying to do is to elevate this vibration. I would feel like destruction, like anti-cosmic. But it's a slow process that is taking place right now, and we're going to see like a paranormal phenomena, and that's that slow process, not like the planet will go supernova. Slow process and these limitations like time, causality, all this stuff is going to break. And we're going to see like a lot of amazing things in this process. And we're working with that. That's why we do our sorcery, our magic.
Yeah, I was just using my imagination with the planet going supernova, just the implications of what that would entail. But just picture it; it's intriguing.
Yeah, that's an amazing vision, and I believe this is powerful. This is something that we need to visualize, like the particles and the stuff and the country, the world, the material world, even our own bodies, like going supernova and bring our inner flame, which is like a serpent, like that, which will turn into a dragon of fire. And then we will reveal our true nature, which is the first subject, that we are the fallen angel within us.
I do hope that the Christians are right, and I do hope that there is a final war. And what I'm saying is, I do want to fight the celestial forces, and I do want to fight the angels head on. It's a fantasy, but I want to be in one of Lucifer's elite units. I want to experience my real body, my body of flame, and I do want to commit to battle. But some people say that the war and the conflict is just something that you go through internally, but there is a struggle going on, and there is a us and them, which is prevalent, and it's becoming more prevalent as the days go on.
Yeah,
I completely resonate with that.
Yeah, exactly. I believe we all do, and I believe like in the future it's not going to be internal. Our inner flame is going to come out like a dragon. It's not fantasy, and we'll have to choose to fight with the side of our Lord, which is a Lucifer. I know some people, they don't like it because I sound like a fanatic using this Christian terminology, but I don't care. Like I say, like my devotion, like to me, I call Lucifer, Satan, Father, the Daughter, the Master, because we are his warriors, and we are here. We're here to open the gate, and then when this happens, we're going to fight at his side. This is not, and I believe this is not like a reverse Christian fantasy that we have in our head. I believe this is real, and I believe all of us have felt the same.
Napoleon, I have a question for you. So,
Yes.
can you give a couple examples? Who are some good Satanists in history that carry that torch, that have presence, that adversarial spirit? For our watchers here, like John Nogby, G.G. Allen, Salem, Lucci of the Devil's Blood. There were a few of them, but who are some?
Most of them
Frederick Nietzsche
has been trying to, there have been a lot of restriction, limitations. They have manifested their Satan through art, through music, art, paintings in the past, also that. And I believe some of the true Satanists were found within the Catholic Church, that those monks that they got the true gnosis and they started practicing these forbidden rituals, but that was hidden. So their names are not going to be known to us. But that's like I had a vision of the first Satanist. I started with this monk, heretic monks within Christianity, also within Judaism, and they start discovering the truth and practicing this ritual. But in this time, most of the true people who are like, I believe black metal is a great tool to manifest this energy. And it's everything. People think like getting a tattoo, because many people that manifest energy, creating music, creating art, using like a necklace or a pendant or jewelry. That will help of that. Many of them, and it's behind like the guys from dissection and from what end I have to like what they do that they're like true, and there's some people like there is a real devotion, but in the whole community, like I said, most people are like just into for magic, personal game, just focusing in just one side. I don't like that true devotion.
Cody, how long have we been going for? Napoleon, just give us a signal when.
We're at
you know,
1:45 right now.
1:45.
Yeah.
Okay, I can go as long as you guys can go. I live to talk about this stuff.
Yeah,
This is
I love to, but I don't want to make like too long or boring for our viewers, and I hope this keep continue doing programs and just reach out a lot of people. I know we basically do it first for ourselves, like the two people in metal music, they do it for first for the first, not for the public. But I hope this reach the people are inspired and to find by themselves and just reach this and this qualification that we have done about the anti-cosmic this concept. But sometimes people get scary. They think that we're crazy. We want to kill everyone, to nuke planet Earth, to kill ourselves, all that stuff. And I think this is important, and that we need to get our goal out. And I believe this is the main purpose of this.
Yeah, you have to ground. If you can get carried away with it. Real quick, when I first did the Bornless Rite, I became unhinged. I wasn't used to embodying Lucifer's energy. I went completely insane for about 9 days. It's a gradual build-up to embody the energy of these prestigious, these beautiful gods. And I will say that I became unhinged. I wasn't used to it. And yeah, you can get fanatical. You can, but I believe it was Lucifer that brought me back. And yeah. So how about we stop it at the 2-hour mark?
Yeah.
The number 2.
Okay. I have one thing that what was I gonna say? I have, Okay, one thing that I want to put into this is that, first of all, I believe that, some parts of this conversation are going to need to be elaborated upon in a different video. And the other thing is, what was it? I think I might have waited too long to say it. But,
it's alright, if it comes back to you, you know.
Yeah, okay, I think it's coming back in 1 sec. Okay. So, when it comes to the cosmic and the anti-cosmic, this ties into something that I wanted to mention earlier about how Joseph, you've presenced the demonic and the angelic, the celestial. And you felt the difference, and you talked about how one of them doesn't seem to really have free will upon itself. That makes me want to bring up the Watchers. The reason I say that is because in the experience of me and others, the Watchers seem to get really mad if you refer to them as angels, even if
not necessarily canonical scripture, specifically the books of Enoch, attributes angelic properties to them. So, for quite a long time, even though they have energetic properties that are distinct that you can find within angels, the Watchers still have this infernal property to them that you just don't feel from any other angels, so-called angels, because in my experience, the Watchers don't like being called angels. And that ties into some personal gnosis that I'll probably elaborate upon in a different video about this spiritual component, or the spiritual essence, or the spiritual building block that you only find within entities that are explicitly aligned with the infernal, which I could, for the sake of convenience, call Tenebris Spiritus. The Watchers have this. Any other angel, to my knowledge, does not have it. Anything that you could consider in any way a demonic entity, whether it be originally angelic or purely spawned from the thoughtless light, all of them have this spark of this, what I like to call a spiritual substance within them.
They kind of have like genetics of the void. They have this demon matter.
Yes.
Demon genetics.
That is a great way to say it. Tenebris Spiritus, or Tenebris Matter. And I believe that within the 7 hells of the Qliphoth, I don't know which specific ones it is. It might be all of them, because some of what has been transmitted to me suggests that the whole people describe the Qliphoth as 7 hells in 10 places, or 7 hells in 11 places. At first I thought it was a couple specific Qliphos, or a couple specific hells, but now I believe that the 7 hells within the 10 places are like an assembly line that kind of manufactures via, kind of like a line cook at a restaurant that puts forth this substance, because, I don't believe that, like, Lucifer or Satan are fallen angels, but I do believe that some entities that are traditionally considered demonic may very well be fallen angels. I'm not going to drop the name, but in the gnosis of a prominent black magician, the goetic demons Stolas and Malthus are fallen angels. And I do believe that, even though I don't believe Satan or Lucifer, however you define them, are fallen angels, I do believe that fallen angels are a thing. I believe there's the Watchers, which I believe that the Watchers were created before the angels, and that the angels, that the Watchers had a spark of the thoughtless light within them, and were therefore viewed as a failed project that were basically abandoned, and they realized it, and they fell, and just united with the other side. And then you have the angels, which have that, what Joseph described as robotic aspect to them. But the other side, the black light of thoughtlessness, was able to work its way into them and, I guess you could say, transmute them and get them to fall and align with the other side. Because, the third Liber Falcifer book suggests the fact that even outside of the Watchers and the Nephilimic, that some angels were touched by the light of the other side, the light of thoughtlessness, the light of El Asher, and did descend upon the world to perpetuate the goals of the other god. And I don't know where I was going with that beyond that, but that's where I'll leave it.
I will say that I've been in the presence of Archangel Michael, and he displays a holy fire that is alien, that is not part of the traditional angels. Michael.
Yes.
Oh, Michael, you don't have to be with.
Well, in my personal gnosis, Michael almost fell upon the ranks of the Watchers. He almost became the 201, basically.
And he hates human beings. I will say that. And he doesn't hate Lucifer. He is kind of mad that Lucifer did what he couldn't, so to speak.
Okay.
A little jealous of Lucifer, I would say, but doesn't hate him. And I don't know if there's many Michaels, but the Michael that I experienced is hates humans and feels demonic, but is in bondage, if that makes any sense.
Oh, that makes sense. It seems like an entity that's trying to escape bondage, but there's some part of its spiritual composition that prevents him from being able to do it.
His value is high. A lot of Christians, they don't believe it. Their faith lies with Michael. They don't think that Yahweh can defeat the forces of chaos. They believe in Michael.
Well, Cody's read more of it than I have, but I'm pretty sure, if I recall, during my skimming through a couple PDFs, that in one of the Primal Craft books, I'm pretty sure there's a rite where you call Lucifer and Michael into yourself, and they're like about to fight, and Hecate steps in.
That's the ritual of heaven and hell from the Queen of Hell, the first book.
Okay, I never finished reading that book because I had a physical copy of it, but fucking Chris Page, in his psychosis, thought that Cain was telling him to burn all of our fucking books, and so he burned them.
Wow.
Fucking dumbass.
Oh, sorry, what was the name of the book?
Queen of Hell. There's a rite. Are you familiar with that book, Napoleon?
Yeah. Now I got it. Yeah.
Cody, can you? I haven't read the book. Cody, can you go into what that ritual entails and what it implies, please?
Yeah, 1 second. I have it open right here. Now I'll just Inner Sanctum.
But Archangel Michael is the champion of the Abrahamic, and he doesn't want that position. He describes himself to me as doing a job that he hates and the prosecutor of a tyrant. So if there's something that holds him to that watchtower, or that is part of his makeup that holds him to that station, but he's not a happy being. Saint Michael, he's not.
Yeah. I hate to use this as a reference because I haven't even seen the movie. I just have friends who have seen it. Have you heard of a movie called Legion?
Yes, I've seen it. Yep.
Is this the one with,
someone who saw that movie told me that in that movie that Jehovah has basically a negative outlook on humans, and that Michael is basically the one that steps in and tells him, like, yo, don't do this fucked up shit that you're about to do to humanity. Please don't do it. Because, like, he's able to relate to us in a way that the one that he's bound to serve, Jehovah, isn't able to do. And I think that ties into what was transmitted to me, that he almost fell among the ranks of the Watchers and stuff, because he does have that black light within him, but he doesn't have enough of it compared to the others that did fall, and is therefore not able to fully break away.
Also, I will say that Michael translated to me that the fight between him and Lucifer never happened. The whole knocking the jewel out of the crown of Lucifer is complete myth.
So I found the heaven and hell ritual in Queen of Hell, and basically it's a basically what's happened is the power of the horn god, Lucifer is summoned, and then the fire of heaven, there's a sigilate invocation of Michael is summoned, and they both conjoin within the being. It's called this work is done within the eye of the Kate. So this is done in sex magic with the dark goddess, full possession of the dark goddess, and then you draw Lucifer in, and you draw Michael in, and then Mark Smith's instructions is that the Empyrean gates are open first and closed last, and the Clepothian gates are open last and closed first. So basically, the Clepothian gateways are open for this amount of time, open for the shortest duration, and then the Empyrean gateways are encompassed around this, and this is all under the cloak of the Kate, so kind of like a multi-layered onion of differing energies. But basically conjoining the Empyrean and conjoining the light and the darkness. There's more. He says that later that work becomes more necessary as you journey along the path. Basically, you're having sex with both light spirits and dark spirits, and by the act of putting them both together, you open it up to even realms darker than the void. You even go beyond the eternal darkness, like places even darker than the abyss. In the Red King, and further in the books, basically going beyond without limitations.
I will share a little bit more gnosis that King Paimon relayed. He wants human beings to ask themselves two questions. The God of limitation, the Abrahamic God, Yehovah, Yahweh. Now, you have to take human beings into context. Either Yahweh is not perfect, or he did not create human beings. Now, if you take those two things into consideration, being that humans are so flawed, and that this world of limitation is so flawed, that their God is false and a half maker, and that the point that he was getting across is that he did not create human beings.
According to my own office and research, I believe the true flaw, because part of us is actually the image of this God, is the half maker, but also some of us has a beautiful sky, this black flame, which is a perfect pure flame of spirit. But like the flame borns of that, they are like the creation of God with an imperfect and laughter being. Like when I don't want to make the video too long, and for some future, I would like to talk about God and the creation of man, and like it's like an abortion, a failed abortion from the chaos and the void, and as a flawed being, he created this failed creation, which is flawed, and his desire. I put it in this student 218 is a separation, create like his own universe, but he imprisons himself and all the spiritus entities, and also like I would like for the future to keep what you said was very interesting about the Watchers, that they have this default, this other essence awakened in them by Aphosphil, which and some Yacha that was awakened from the other side. That's really important. But I believe this part, the thing, reality, the material world is just a part, a little bit of, maybe like 10% of the creation of the part controlled by Yahweh, which is actually a lesser, a lower, and also a finite being that he eventually, and his atoms will come to an end, and they will die and be absorbed into space.
Well,
I think.
If you look into the mythology of all different cultures, there is a let's say for the Gnostic point of view, Sophia, there's a God that created humanity and stepped away. So this God is absent. This Jehovah, this Yahweh, this disease is just the God that took credit for as the supreme creator God, and the Jews inserted him into the how they did it, I don't know, into the collective consciousness as this creator deity, as the supreme creator deity. But there is an unnamed, unseen force that created humanity, the perfection side of humanity, and stepped away. That's what I'm gathering. But the flawed part of it could be Yahweh. Yes, stop at 2 hours. Where are we at, Cody?
Yeah.
2:06, but you were breaking up for a little bit there.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe until this time, and when the next episode, I want to go further into this because you have touched like so many interesting topics, especially this one of the watch of the fallen angel. Also have God, the image of the half maker, and also want to bring it from this other current from the draconian era, which you thought is like this case like Lucifer is the spiritual father of man, the spiritual creator, but this is in a spiritual, in a
Yes.
state of being.
Yes.
The material, the lower, the fallen aspect of man, the material is came from the emerge. It's like a wide and long topic, and also I want to do like more research and prepare myself for that, because it has been like a long time, and I know what to
Okay, so
with that.
in closing, is there any final words that any of you guys want to say? We're going to wrap this up. And this has been a tremendous episode, by the way.
Actually, basically is that, I'd say about 3 or 4 of the subjects that we touched upon, we could dedicate entire episodes to, if we specifically focus on that topic, but, I don't think we should elaborate upon them any further for this episode. However, I think that it's, good that, different subjects got touched upon, which was what I expected from this episode, that we would touch upon parts of different subjects and kind of elaborate upon them enough and then go to the other subject and stuff. But I think we could make a series out of this, actually. I think we could definitely make a series out of it, specifically focusing on specific topics. We kind of went all across the board here, and I think that's good. Good insights and beliefs and gnosis were shared by the parties involved here about that, and yeah, I think we just kind of opened up the door to possibly a whole series of videos, depending on which people involved want to partake in the future. But yeah, this was a good conversation, and I'm glad this happened, and I'm glad I got on board. I'm glad I got to hear the insights from all the other people in here, and yeah, we could do something with this, and that's about all I have to say here.
Awesome. So Napoleon, I want to book you again for I don't know if you want to do another one next weekend. I would love to do another one next weekend. We can do 2 a month, or
yeah, we can plan that also, and to prepare to start, because this has been more like a spontaneous long episode, like for our viewers. Like myself, I just got into the flow. I didn't get like anything like prepared with any research and that. But I think it turned out good, and I really appreciate like you guys sharing your knowledge. I have to learn a lot from you, and I hope people that hear this, they also can become stronger with the flow, also in their path. Like this.
Anything in closing, Cody?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good there, but they're actually. I did wanted to share some. I did wish earlier that I read a little bit more from the chapter that I was referring to. So, in the Heaven and Hell ritual from Queen of Hell, this is what I didn't like about Mark Smith when I read this originally. There said the children of Queen of Hell, heaven and earth. This is page 121 of Queen of Hell. Open your mind, night and day. The children of Queen of Hell, heaven and earth are like their goddess, able to walk through either realm, accessing the knowledge and powers of both sides of the universal tree. While there may always be a preference for the night side realm of possibilities in which your Dark Lady, our Dark Lady, is patron, to rule out entirely any contact with the many and extremely powerful denizens of the Empyrean realm would be to greatly marginalize one's ability. It would also be naive to assume that although she is Queen of Hell and patron of the night side, that Hecate as a goddess does not utilize part of the angelic realm. Petty squabbles over shades of daylight, darkness, and spiritual territory are for fantasies of the narrow-minded, uninitiated members of the mundane world. The denizens of the worlds of light and dark are necessary to balance the universe. So basically, that is a pro-cosmic perspective there, but it got me wondering, what Ryan said earlier about Michael's got the serpent's bite, but not enough to make him fall. Maybe this is the void's way of infecting, in a way, infecting the dayside realm and infecting the Citra Kedusha to spread the Citra Aura influence.
I like that. We're going to have to make a follow-up to this for sure.
Absolutely. We have to stay professional. Our guest here has to go. So thank you guys.
I think we should start our next episode where we left off. That can be our first question, our first topic, and then have the rest of the floor.
All right. This has been Serpent Sermons. Numinous Frequency. Tartax Vlies out. Thank you very much, Napoleon, for appearing.
Thank you.
He will be on future episodes. Ryan, Stirner, Austin Blackstone, fucking love you, bro. Love your gnosis, love your insight. Cody, thank you for bringing us together. All right, brothers. Good night. Napoleon, I need to speak with you privately, and yeah. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, good sirs. Farewell. For now.
Later.
To walk the night.